How is everyone doing? What is going on? How is everyone doing? Feeling good about today? Should feel good about every day. Every day should feel good. New day. So, what I wanted to talk about this morning. Look at this trend line. Okay. So, perfect bounce right off of this trend line. All right, this is the SPY daily. Okay. And if we take from the highs, right, remember that mother of all trend lines that we broke multiple times. We didn't quite touch it yet, but it's getting close. Okay, it's getting very close. Make this a little bit bigger. Right, it's extremely close. Right, we broke this overall downtrend from this trend line. Right, there was a few trend lines here. Right, 1 bounce, 2 bounce, 3 bounce, 4 bounce, and then we finally broke below, and it took out this low here. And once that low broke, right, we saw that pretty steep sell-off. We had to... Okay. Levels above that I'm watching now. Right, of course, 405, 400 we need to watch, and 410. Right, these are the major levels based on the daily. Okay, and then of course the low if we sell off. If we break 397.02, we're most likely going to test 393 or so, which is this previous candle here. Okay. So 397, that breaks to the downside, which would be pretty big because then we'd break this trend line from the lows here. So just to keep that in mind. We also have this trend line up here that works perfect, right? So we kind of have higher lows, lower highs. So we could bounce in this range for a bit. Need to see what happens, of course. Hey. What's up, Bino? How you doing? Yeah, NVIDIA up 12.5% on ER. But if we go into a smaller time frame, right, we have some levels in between here that we need to break, right? 400.28 or 0.2, right? Previous double top acted as support. Right, kind of acted as a resistance yesterday. Okay. Right, we need this 400 level to hold for bulls. Right, if that breaks, we can push through the resistance from yesterday. Right, we'll push up to 405. How do I approach my ticker? What do I look for? I just trade the same names over and over again. The names on the list here. Anything with this setup. That's really it. And then if we go to a smaller time frame, right, we look at the price action from yesterday, right, we can kind of create, let's change the color of this trend line for a bit. Let's use white. All right, we can kind of create this reversal wedge kind of looking pattern, right off of support, right? We have this previous support here at 397. Right, that we drew before, right, which is the low from yesterday, and then we have this pink trend line from that low. Right, so pretty high chance of a reversal at this level, and we're opening up, over 400. So, we could see a decent run to 405 today, if this holds. Right, if this doesn't hold, we'll pull back and we'll test 397 again, and then 393. All right. Always think if this, then that. everyone can drop a like on the video, appreciate it. Okay. So let's continue. No one has any questions so far. All right, so SPY, that's what I'm looking at. QQQ, all right, perfect wedge here as well. But we are opening up near 297.5, which is at this previous support. We need to watch this 298.2 level, right? Previous resistance acted as support, acted as support, acted as support, acted as resistance. Right, we need to see what happens here. Right, just can play the levels like a ladder. That's it. Here's Riot, right? I posted this yesterday. Right, we have 3 rejections across this high here. We have 3 bounces off the low here. Right, from this low to high, if you grab the fibs, right between the 0.5 and the 618 is where we reversed, right? We bounced multiple times off the 0.5, and then we finally bounce off the 618, which lines up perfectly with this support below, right? And then we kind of have, you know, this triple rejection here across the top. And at 6.48, if this level breaks here, we should see a nice little push up and, you know, move to 6.8 and then 7.25. All right, we had data this morning at 8:30. That came out already. Let's see if we have anything else, right? I always use this website here on Bloomberg. And I'll just filter. Here we go. All right, clear all. US, and then I'll just do these 2 here, right? Importance. Mid important, all right, semi important, and then very important. All right, and then you can filter it out. What's today? Thursday. All right, so we had that 8:30 data. 8:30 data. And then we have crude oil at 11. He is speaking at 10:50. All right, so that's, you know, definitely important to know. And then we have a few other things, but, you know, the more important one is crude. And then tomorrow we have this at 8:30. And then this at 10. Okay. Always make sure you know what's going on in the market. How do I set up my fibs? I have the trend line on, extend lines to the right over here. Background color, right? The way it's faded is this right here. I just have the opacity lowered. So you can screenshot that if you want. Tesla. Right, so Tesla, that rising wedge broke down perfect yesterday. Then we pulled back and we consolidated above 199, right? We closed over 199, that level I mentioned a bunch of times, right? Now we kind of have this wedge here, right? From this, right? We have 3 or 4 rejections across this pink trend line here. Let me change it so I can make it a little easier to talk about. Right, this white wedge here, right? We have the bounce off this trend line, and then we have, you know, 3 or 4 rejections across this trend line. Right, we're opening up over this previous resistance and over 199, that important level. We're in the middle of this range here. I want to see how 208 reacts. Right, this is the level that we rejected previously. Right, we also bounced off of it previously, so need to keep an eye at this level. 208, 208.69 or so. Right, just in this range here. Right, if we reject that, we're most likely going to pull back down to 199. Right, we just play the ladder, moves like a ladder. Okay. Apple, right, also opening up within this range. Need to see how it reacts at 150.9. right? Big level at 150.9. Set an alert at every level, right, above and below, so you don't have to keep an eye on everything at once. Amazon looks very good. I'm going to put Amazon to the top here with Tesla and Riot. Right, perfect wedge. Let's draw some bigger levels here. All right, so we got this level here, 96.23, this previous support, acted as resistance, right? Let's see what else we got. And then major level at 102. 100 is going to act as a big level, of course. But we also have a little gap to fill, sort of, right here. Very tiny, but just take note of it. It actually kind of lines up with this previous resistance. Right, we rejected it a few times, acted as support, support, rejected. So, you know, 97.8 or so is going to act as resistance. We're also kind of flagging here on the smaller time frame. Right, this little flag here, creating higher lows, is you know, a sign of that we might break out of this little wedge here. Is that a Head and Shoulders on Amazon? Let's see. I mean, it could be. It's just the neckline isn't really, you know, isn't really there. All right, if I inverse this, you know, it doesn't really have a sort of a neckline, but, you know, maybe left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You know, it could also, right? This looks like a rising wedge now that I inversed it, right? It looks like it's going to drop down around 101 or 102. I'm just going to move this here. 100.9. It's always good to look at the inverse chart just to, you know, make sure you're not biased to the upside. All right, here's Tesla. All right, it looks like it might drop back down to 217. All right, let's take a look at SPY inverse. Yeah, look how, you know, this looks pretty good to 405 over this, you know, level right here. 401.13. I do like that at open, actually. I'm looking at the inverse. Whoops. Right, that looks good. Right, calls at open to a push to, you know, 405 or so. Or this level right here. 404.12, right? This previous support acted as resistance. Okay. That does look very good. That might be the play for the challenge account today. SPY calls it open for a push to 404. Right, tight stop loss below here. All right, so we'll keep that in the list. Let's take a look at VIX. All right, VIX is pulling back. Move this trend line now. Let's see, where do we want to move this to? We'll move it to the high of today. We'll set an alert below this trend line here. Clean this up a bit. Yeah, I mean, you know, every day could be a 100% return. You know, yesterday I had 100% on puts. You know, just based off this small move here, I'm pretty sure. Right, those SPY puts pay pretty well. I don't remember where I entered. Oh, I'm pretty sure I entered here below this low and play this move to the downside here. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, calls look pretty good. Definitely going to keep an eye on that on open. Meta looks great too. Right, we have multiple rejections across this high trend line here, multiple bounces off this bottom trend line here, and then within this whole wedge, right, we have 3 bounces and multiple rejections here. right? So it's definitely setting up for something, for a big move soon, Meta. And keep an eye on it. AMD, NVIDIA up a ton. NVIDIA more interesting. We have this double top and we're opening up above. Next level I have above, like a major level, is 253. Right? This previous resistance with a gap to fill also lines up, I'm pretty sure. Never mind. Thought it did. Also, oh, actually it lines up with this resistance from 2021. Let's see what else we got. Delete this chart. Redo it. If this lines up, it kind of looks pretty interesting. We kind of have this flag here. Pretty interesting. So Brittany asked, what's a good rule of thumb to use for stop losses? I never use percentages. I don't suggest using percentages. I suggest using the support below and just size smaller. Right? A lot of times, or not a lot of times, but sometimes, right? A stop loss could be, 60, 70%, right? Which is why you need to size correctly. You can't go into every trade looking to, make $1 billion. Right? You should never really be focusing on the money anyway. Right? Always just focus on the setup, size correctly, and let the probability and the risk to reward take you, to the next level. That's really it. Which a lot of people, they can't get that in their head. It takes a long time. It really does take a long time to learn. It doesn't take a long time to learn the technicals. It takes a long time to, actually build, that confidence and, mentality, that strong mentality. I did want to take lucid puts. I didn't even know earnings was coming yesterday, but we broke support and we flagged right below it. And then it ended up, now it's down 12%. So, right, it shows you how TA typically lines up. With that. Rivian doesn't look that good. It's kind of flagging here below support. But just going to keep an eye on these names here. Right, Tesla is pushing now in pre-market. It's sitting at almost 205 now. Yeah, it'll all click if you guys keep going. You just got to keep it going. Keep pushing. Right, size correctly. Play the chart. And that's it. Right? It's really as simple as those two steps. Really that simple. Baba. Nah. Overall downtrend. But it is up 4.9%, but not a type of setup that I would trade personally. So Amazon, Riot, Tesla. Let's buy. NVIDIA has to hold 230. All right, that double top. Okay. And that's really it, folks. Just gonna keep it simple, as always. All right, Amazon on watch over 97. All right, if this breaks, then we need to push 97.8. And then we should see a push up to around 100 or so. Okay. And SPY. And ideally, we want to see VIX stay below 21.7, right, for upside. And we want to see a push back down to this 21.1 level. You're thinking medicals. Yeah, you know, it's a solid risk to reward, right? You take calls here with a stop loss below. Right in the zone here, a stop loss would be in a price target, you know, 178 and then, you know, 180. Not bad. Rivian I already did. But Amazon has my eye. I think, you know, if we start to break out, Amazon's gonna do very well. Okay. What's going on in free market here? So just, you know, strong push up, right? It rejected this 400 401 level, and now it's starting to push above. So yeah, you know, calls out open, not too bad. Keep an eye. All right, here's pre-market low. We'll just so I have an idea of where it is. AMD price target, I mean, it's opening up at 80, right, which is this big level here, 80.4. Needs to hold over 79.2, which is this double top here. You know, price target could be, you know, 83 or so. This previous support, previous resistance. Right around this zone here. You're looking at BA. I haven't looked at BA in a long time. Yeah, it's just BA is choppy. Flicks. Pretty weak. Yeah, it does have this gap to fill to the downside, but see what happens, right? Market is pretty strong as of now, right? QQQ up 1.2%, SPY up 0.7%. So, you know, we also have seen a pretty steep sell-off the last few days. So, you know, and we're also bouncing off this trend line here, right? This trend line is the biggest thing. Right? Multiple times, right? 4 times here, once here now, right? So a relief bounce makes sense. But don't get that, you know, stuck in your head, right? Just play the levels. If this, then that. Okay. If everyone could drop a like on the video, I would appreciate it. 5 minutes to market open. Let's transition over to the Discord. I'm going to jump on voice chat. All right. Appreciate everyone stopping by, as always. See you tomorrow, 9 o'clock.